Okay, we'll start with Arda. Ready, Shane?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Good afternoon. For the record, my name is Tanya Fernandez Anderson, the District 7 City Councilor. I am the Chair of Boston City Council Committee on Ways and Means. This working session is being recorded. It is being posted to the Boston City Council YouTube page and will be rebroadcast on Xfinity Channel 8, RCN Channel 82, Files Channel 964. The Council's budget review process will encompass a series of public hearings beginning in April running through June. We strongly encourage residents to take a moment to engage in this process by giving public testimony for the record. You may do that in writing at this point. This will be our final working session and then presented on the floor tomorrow at a council meeting at 12 noon for a vote. If you would like to submit testimony following this working session, you may email written comments to the committee at ccc.wm@boston.gov. For more information on the City Council budget process and how to testify at any of the for any of the hearings, please visit the Council's budget website at boston.gov/council-budget. Today's working session is on Docket 0760, Message and Order for Annual Appropriation and Tax Order for FY Fiscal Year 2024. Our focus area for this working session is to discuss proposed amendments of the FY24 budget. I am joined by my colleagues, Councilor Large Murphy, District Councilor Flynn, Councilor at Large Louisiane, Councilor at Large Mejia, District Councilor Coletta. We received a letter of absence for Councilor Liz Braden, and it reads, Dear Chair Fernandez Anderson, I regret that I will be unable to attend tomorrow's working session in the Committee on Ways and Means due to illness. I would appreciate it if you would keep me apprised of proposed amendments by email. I look forward to being in attendance at future hearings and working sessions, if any. Thank you, Liz Braden. For this working session, I'm not going to remind you of decorum or that I'm the chair. We will do the format that I state. If folks come in late, I'm happy to rephrase so that they can understand. If you'd like to have ideas that has already been presented on the floor, for example, yesterday we were in a working session where I asked everyone to prioritize their amendments and present them. Then Councilor Flaherty, then Councilor Louisiane, then Councilor Arroyo all mentioned that it would be easier to prioritize their amendments and present, which just distracted from the conversation in the format and then did exactly what I had proposed to take place. So I'm going to ask you to please respect the process or the format that I lay out, and I will be very firm on the standards or format that I'm presenting to you today. I will go by order of arrival to my council colleagues for a presentation or introduction for 30 seconds, and then we will go straight into the amendments. I will not be reading names for amendments. I will be referring to each amendment as a colleague. If you'd like to come on record and present it for yourself and state that those are your amendments, that is okay by me. You just light your mic and I will allow you the floor. In the order of arrival, Councilor Murphy, you have 30 seconds for introduction.
working session and to get an explanation on the amendments that are still just pulling from their own department. So if we could talk about, is that a recommendation or an amendment when that time comes? Looking forward to this conversation and seeing which total amounts from each department so we have an idea of what we're voting on tomorrow. Thank you.
Councillor Flynn, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for your leadership. I have no further comment. I have no opening statement. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Councillor Jean, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for leading this process. I'm going to withhold any comments so that we can get to work. Thank you.
Councillor Mejia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for your patience. Earlier today, I will defer my comments. Just want to dive into the work. Thank you.
Councillor Coletta, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No opening comment, just ready to get to work. Thank you.
Councillor Lara, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also don't have any opening statements.
All right, fantastic. I am going to go through a list. Should anyone have any, feel that there are any discrepancies, or if they have any questions or comments, again, if you'd like to come on record to identify that this is an amendment that you particularly want to express, or whether you propose it or not, let me know. The full amendments for the Boston City Council as a body, with everyone included in this list, is as follows. A moment, please. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Starting with youth jobs, to go to YEO, contractual for $5 million. Youth jobs, to go to personnel, YEO, $1,058,836. Those in public cannot speak to the councilors, or cannot speak or interrupt the working session. This is a working session without any public testimony. I'm going to ask everyone in the public silence or be removed. If you have a comment, light up your mic and be patient, please. Councilor Coletta?
Just a quick question of which document you are following from. Is it the one that we just got from central staff, or is it a separate
It's all
document?
updated there. This will be the order that, close to the order that I will, for my report. So my report is a little bit shuffled,
Okay.
but it's the same document you have.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
I guess I could read it from. I want to put it back so they can follow. I'll read it from this document so you can all follow. I was reading from my report for tomorrow. So as it's listed on the document that you have, if it's hard to follow, if I'm going out of order or a different document, I'm going to start with Black Heritage Trail, Parks and Recs, contractual, $1 million. Salary increase for municipal police, property management, personnel, total 500, the total's not here, $584,896. Business corridors, action plan, Revitalizing Business Corridors Action Plan, Office of Economic Opportunity and Inclusion, contractual, $1,500,000. You'll notice increases from yesterday, up to 32% decrease from the 75 million proposed amendments from yesterday. Cultural spaces, arts and culture, contractual, 1.5 million. Technical employee for city council, personnel, $105,000. Counselor staff salary increases, personnel, $1,495,000. Counselor staff increase, and this is just, as you know, for workers' comp. Personnel, or for unemployment rather, $34,385. Citywide senior recreational spaces study, Age Strong, contractual, $150,000. Citywide racial disparity study, OEOI, contractual, $400,000. Aid to returning citizens, Office of Returning Citizens, OHS, contractual, $1.5 million. Vouchers for low-income families, Women Advancement, contractual, $500,000. Mentorship program between youths and police officers, OPAT, contractual, $400,000. Black Male Advancement Entrepreneurship Grant, contractual, $1 million. BIPOC Women's Entrepreneurship Grant, Women's Advancement, contractual, $1 million. Staff Director, City Council Admin, raise. City Council personnel, $38,000. Small Business Commercial Rent Assistance Grants, OEOI, contractual, $500,000. Opportunity Mini Grants, LGBTQ Advancement, contractual, $1 million. CAR 5, to go to BPD, personnel, sorry, thank you. BFD, personnel, $1.5 million. Community college infrastructure support, OEOI, contractual, $500,000. Age Strong, sorry, I'll read the intro departmental afterwards. Tuition assistance for BPS students, YEO, contractual, $1 million. Contractual events funding, ONS, contractual, $21,000. Pre-development support for RFPs, MOH, contractual, $750,000. Men's Mental Health Initiative, Boston Public Health Commission, $200,000. Maternal medical devices, women's advancement equipment, $150,000. Maternal health grants, women's advancement, contractual, $150,000. Civic organizing or tech assistance for civic associations, ONS, contractual, $500,000. Space grants, renovation for inside and subsidized for rents for small businesses, OEOI, contractual, $500,000. Alternative to public safety programs, grants, programming grants, OPAT, contractual, $500,000. Boston High School study, YEO, contractual, $250,000. 2FT for lab inspectors, BFD, personnel, $140,000. Municipal wage study, People's Operation Contractual, $50,000. ORC Vital Document Waiver Pilot Program, OHS Contractual, $20,000. Moya Contract Services Level Funding, Moya Contractual, $868. Black Heritage Trail Signage, Office of Historic Preservation, contractual, $25,000. Fair Housing Testers, Fair Housing and Equity Personnel, $300,000. Sorry, Council Mejia, I didn't see your light up. You have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to note, I got a note from Shane that I'm going to have to put my things on the record when we get there, because they're not here, so you'll let me know when.
If there are any changes, comments, or questions, feel free. When I get to it,
Okay.
light up. If I don't see you, I guess, get my attention. Let me know when we get to it.
Yeah,
Whatever changes you need to make. Thank you. Fair housing testers, fair housing equity personnel, $300,000. B8, Councilor Loujain, you have the floor.
Thank you, Councilor Fernandez Anderson. Just wanted to state that my team, we're very intentional about where we're pulling from, and there's been a change where we're pulling from MOH, which I don't believe is the right direction because we're trying to put money into MOH, and we're pulling now. Our original pull was from BTD, contractual. Would like you to stay there. I understand that you have particular challenges as chair. But just wanted to state that for the record.
There is, Councilor Loujain, there is still wiggle room from your, the department that you want to pull. So we're going to change it to BTD.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to explain, it's just based on the total spent in past years. And in this fiscal year, they've only spent 0.44% of that, so 44%. So based on projections, this was a good place to pull from, and so I just want to keep it there. Thank you for your flexibility.
No problem. I think the balancing act, as you said, I appreciate you acknowledging that the challenge that I have before me. The balancing act is to ensure that all councilors are feeling comfortable with the poll. But you're absolutely correct that they would have, by the end of the year, they would have only spent like a little over $3 million, but they have budgeted over $8 million. Next one. Mayor's Office of Housing contractual, what, I'm missing the description here. Thank you. Okay, so BHA city vouchers for BPS students, contractual services to go to MOH, $1 million. New arrival emergency shelter, Mayor's Office of Housing, contractual, $2 million. Again, I will come back to the intro department and give it to you last. Adding 2 sets of translation sets equipment for Civic Association tech assistants. 1 set, well, you guys have the description. Language and communication equipment, $30,000. Programming in the North End, Charlestown, East Boston for youth, and particularly BCYF contractual, $100,000. Council Coletta, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. This is one of my amendments. Originally, I believe it was pulling from Human Services. It's since been changed to pull from aid to veterans, which I'm wondering if we can either pull from the snow management line item or auto, energy, and gas. I believe the Public Works line item for that has been exhausted, no pun intended. But the police department is still at $3 million for their gas, and I do think that there might be some wiggle room there for that.
A moment, please.
Or BTD, Parks and Rec, there's still some wiggle room for gas.
Allow me a moment.
Thank you.
Council Coletta, if you're okay with either of the suggestions that you've made, one of the three, I'll make a decision on one of the three. I'll definitely change it.
Okay, I think the largest number that was left over for gas this year was in the police department at about 3 million. So I believe that the $100,000 is modest, so we'll pull from there.
It'll still be my decision.
Well, for your consideration, Chair, apologies.
I just have to go check in comparison to what everybody else is doing.
Okay.
And then, if it doesn't make it too much fuss in that area, in the line item, I'll let you know, okay?
Okay, thank you, Chair.
No problem. Yes, sir. Councilor Flynn, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to Councilor Coletta for explaining that funding where the money was coming from, and I'm glad that it's not coming from veterans. I know there was another place in this matrix where I did see something else was coming from veterans as well. I think people know that I could never support any budget where, and I think I've made it clear, but I couldn't support any budget where even 5 cents was cut from veterans and disabled veterans. So even if I'm not here for the remaining of this session, I just wanted to be on the record that if there is anything that is taking money away from the City of Boston Department of Veterans, I could not, in good faith, support any budget where we cut the funding from the Veterans Department. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Councilor President Flynn. Just to be clear, and you are of course entitled to your position. The only reason why this particular colleague of ours suggested veterans is because it's a reimbursable fund. Sorry, I wasn't talking about you. Councilor Coletta, did you want to make a statement?
Yes, please. I just wanted to clarify for the record, I didn't make that suggestion. As it is up to your discretion with council staff, that was put there. And so that's why I'm trying to rectify that and pull from another line item. That's it. Thank you.
I understand that we sometimes can be reactionary, but allow me to finish my statement without cutting me off on the floor. Was not definitely, for the record, was not referring to Councilor Coletta, and there is, Councilor Flynn mentioned there's another poll in the matrix, in the spreadsheet, that was pulling from vets, and the reason why I'm not calling your name, that person's name, is because they're not here. But Council Coletta, because you've already identified that that was your poll, I would have called on to you. I would have given you that respect. Councilor Flynn, the other poll that you're talking about, the colleague is not present, and so happy to look at that as well, but just wanted to be clear that that is a poll from a reimbursable fund, and I think that was the justification. But either way, I understand what you are stating.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Could I briefly respond, Madam Chair?
Of course.
I understand that it's a program, it's called Chapter 115, and the state of Massachusetts is the only state or commonwealth that provides funding for veterans that have limited income. It's almost like an allowance of $200 just so that they can pay for their soup or to put the heat on in their home. The city of Boston is reimbursed from the state, but it is a partnership between the city and the state as it relates to supporting a veteran in need, especially a veteran that has extreme limited income or poverty, but it's not 100% reimbursed by the state. There is some part of it that the city's obligated to support, so just wanted to put that on the record. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Council President Flynn. Let's address it when we get to that item, and happy to go back to my colleague to ask about amending that.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. As you know, it's not entirely up to me, but I will definitely keep you updated to the result. Thank you. Okay. Okay. We're on staffing for street work, street repair, and street sidewalk, public works, personnel, 2 FT Hokies, public works, personnel for $70,000. Sorry, the last one, staffing and street work and repair, $300,000 personnel. Upgrading the COBUCs 2.0 to mitigate utility and street work, do it, equipment, $250,000. To women's advancement, need investment in 4 more vending machines for menstrual products pilot. Women's advancement, supplies and materials, $36,000. Expand tree canopy, parks and rec, supplies and materials, $50,000. Okay, understood. Thank you. Immigrant Lead Boston Program, Immigrant Advancement, Contractual Services, $1,000. Just, this is not yet on my report. Still waiting for my colleague to give me the source of the pool or the remaining amount. The fund to construction for new affordable family housing and senior housing, where developments have project-based vouchers in at least 50% of units, and fund community visioning about services, programs, and community space that should accompany new housing. MOH, special appropriations, $3,328,849. Mental health, crisis response, Boston Public Health Commission, $1,100,000. Orgs housing LGBTQ people, to LGBTQ advancement, contractual, $500,000. This will be a grant program. 1 FTE to manage and expand outreach, language communication, access to the Child Care Entrepreneurship Program. Office of Human Services, personnel, $120,000. Maternal Health Program, 4 to 5 FTE. Women's Advancement personnel, $260,000. Franklin Park Plan, Parks and Recreation, personnel, $1 million. Arts and Culture, Cultural Planning, Arts and Culture, contractual, $500,000. Funding for cultural spaces, Square specific, struggling economically, for space grant. Experiential Learning, YEA, contractual, $600,000. I had started with youth jobs, but I'll repeat it here. Youth jobs, YEO, contractual, $5 million. YEO, youth jobs, personnel, $1,058,836. Reparations Task Force, Office of Equity, contractual, $500,000. Mental Health Wellness Ambassador, YEO, contractual, $500,000. Workforce Development for 19 to 24-year-olds, nonprofit hire, YEO, contractual, $300,000. Workforce Development for recent arrivals, YEO, personnel, $300,000. Workforce Development to 19 and 24-year-olds for pay increase, personnel, $200,000. Atlantics and Caribbean Director of Programming and Policy, Immigrant Advancement, personnel, $125,000. Food costs for poll workers, ONS, supplies and materials, $117,500. For Worker Safety Initiative, Office of Labor and Compliance, contractual, $290,000. To create an additional project manager role, increase capacity in this office. For Office of Food Justice, personnel, $90,000. Staff assistant roles to support project manager and increase capacity in the Office of Food Justice, personnel, $150,000. Special appropriations for environmental justice, Mayor's Office of Housing, special appropriations, $1 million. LGBTQ Virtual Senior Center, Age Strong, contractual, $200,000. Programming, Veronica Smith Senior Center, Age Strong, contractual, $50,000. ESOL Adult Classes, Beginners, New Arrivals, Immigrant Advancement, $250,000. Expand Tree Canopy, 500 trees, should be about $100 each in Alston Brighton Heat Island Mitigation. Parks and Recreation, Supplies and Materials, $50,000. 2 FTE graffiti removers, Property Management, personnel, $70,000. Expand mental health, emotional health services for seniors and veterans. Contractual, this is an intra-departmental, $300,000. 1 FTE for senior computer operator shift, property management, personnel, $75,000. Participatory budgeting, participatory budgeting, special appropriations, $10 million. I'm going to go over all the intra-departmental amendments. Age Strong Senior Transport Voucher age-strong contractual for, oh, apologies. Counselor Murphy, you have the floor.
Sure. So when Counselor Flynn highlighted the pull from aid to veterans, and you had mentioned that the other pull, the person wasn't here, but it looks like there's 3 pulls, because there is a pull from mine also.
Okay,
So I am here. So I wanted to also, and it looks that we're taking 3 pulls from that aid to veterans, which totals $1 million. So if we could talk about that?
yes, for yours, I'm recommending that it's intradepartmental.
And then, well, there's one that you did interdepartmental, the senior support. The second one was vets, for the vets taken from the
Mental health?
vet. Yeah, it's 2 separate.
Yes, that one, intradepartmental, age strong. I believe that they get grants for this, and it should remain intradepartmental for them to use it, and not from Boston Public Health because they're a quasi-agency. You couldn't necessarily, you can't tell quasi-agencies how to allocate or create line items. So I'm suggesting that they are both intradepartmental.
Okay, one is suggesting, though, directly from vets, and could I, through the chair, to Karishma or to you directly, when I worked with Karishma about where to pull, we talked about Boston Public Health, and I know this happened last year where we got a lot back because there are things we can't do. So I just think it would have been helpful to know that before I submitted these, from what department to pull from. But I do, whenever you think it's appropriate during this time, if we could address that 1 million is being pulled from vets and how we can make sure, because I also cannot vote yes at all for a budget that's pulling any, but especially 1 million from that program that they need to support our vets with. Thank you.
Thank you. There are, so again, that's not a poll technically, it's an intradepartmental, so there are 2 to discuss in that case.
Right, and like, Madam Chair, I had said at the beginning too, if we could talk about interdepartmental are basically recommendations, correct? Because we're not adding, it's like we're telling a department we want them to do something, but we're not giving them funding. So it's really not an amendment, it's just a suggestion, and then it would be on us to kind of track that they did it? Or how do you see it? How would you view that as the chair?
I think that's about right. I think it'd be on us to work with the administration or the department chiefs to, but we cannot, right, we cannot actually direct any department heads or the executive branch how to execute their job.
Right, so with any of these amendments that have switched to intra, if they weren't originally, they are basically cut amendments. They're not real amendments.
I don't know about cut amendments. I do think that the administration has agreed and allowed us to do that, to make these suggestions, because, I mean, I can speak for what happened last year. And essentially, intradepartmental amendments did have follow-throughs. So I wouldn't say that they were fake.
Not fake, but it's a different process.
Well, then I would say that it is my recommendation that we not remove funds from Boston Public Health Commission. All of their funds are accounted for. When you go look for funding, if I see that, for example, there are fundings that project, like once you project what they're going to spend for the rest of the year, that there is going to have an access of, in addition to what they're already going to spend, then I would say, okay, there's wiggle room there. But with where we can't touch the Boston Public Health Commission, we can't actually move pieces around, there's no line item to remove the money from. So there's a risk of just taking the money from an overall budget that has already been balanced to say that to spend it on an internal department. Councilor Lujan?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think you alluded to something that what I wanted to say. I believe 2 of my amendments are intradepartmental polls, and our guidance that we received from admin last year was that these are amendments. I take my amendments as amendments, not as any sort of suggestion. They're amendments, they're interdepartmental. If you need more guidance from administration in terms of how to ensure that they are enshrined as amendments and that they are given the full force of an amendment that is an interdepartment pull, then let's get that. But my understanding, my amendments are not suggestions. They are amendments so that these departments are able to effectuate, like the $2 million for the acquisition opportunity program that's dedicated to community land trust. That is not a suggestion. That is an amendment that I'm making, and there's been a lot of advocacy for. Thank you.
Thank you for that addition, Councilor Lujan. Not just what the department is saying backs that up, but also that we set the precedence last year where we made interdepartmental moves and they actualized afterwards with some follow through. All right, so we do have, oh, sorry, Councilor Mejia. Let me just, is it okay if I just,
My light's on.
it's been on?
Yeah.
Give me a moment. So Age Strong, senior transportation vouchers, I'm just listing the interdepartmental. Age Strong, contractual, 400,000. VHA vouchers, contractual, 200,000. AOP Land Trust, Community Land Trust Fund, Mayor's Office of Housing, $2 million. Emergency Business Relief Fund, OEOI, $1 million. 2FT Parking Enforcement, BTD Personnel, $1 million. Youth Action Network Grant, ONS, Intradepartmental, 200,000. Study to assess how to open non-brick and mortar cannabis business. This is why I wanted to list them first. OEOI, Intradepartmental, $200,000. Support minority who want to open small business startups, OEOI, $300,000. Investigation tracking BRJP, OEOI, $150,000. Councilor Mejia, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. And I wish Councilor Flaherty was here because he would be really proud of me in this moment. You want to talk about being modest? I went from, I think, my initial budget request last week was at over 32 million. And during this whole entire process and in the interest of making sure that we are being fiscally responsible and also making sure that we're not creating further hardships for our hardworking men and women here in the city of Boston, I have reduced my ask down to 7 million. And that was a lot of compromising. And I have some very specific things that I'd like to present in terms of some changes. So Councilor Anderson, just so we're all on the same page here, there are a lot of things that I asked for that I am, while I appreciate hearing them there, I'm willing to sacrifice them in the interest of just being super laser focused on a number of different things. So I'm gonna name them, the amount, and then the changes where I believe they should come from.
1 second. Councilor Mejia, I appreciate that you're trying to fine-tune all of your amendments and figuring out exactly where you're comfortable pulling them from. I will just say that, fair warning, this is the very last time anyone gets to change anything. We have to stay here till like whenever, midnight, and then tomorrow morning again, and then we need to be ready for a vote. And so, in the interest of time, the cutoff, this is supposed to be the final, but if you have, I will allow a final change once again. And then please note that whatever you're giving me may not be the final because I may make my recommendations myself to change them if it doesn't make sense because someone else has already pulled from certain departments. Okay, only because it's coming at the last hour.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No worries.
I was just trying to be helpful. So let me just tell you what the compromises are and what that looks like. So we've been advocating for 10 million for PB, and I reduced that to 2.6 million from my ask, and my other colleagues are going to be pouring in and asking for theirs. I see that a lot of my ask, initially the police department was at $42 million that people were trying to get at. I have found a pathway towards what I believe is a reasonable and what I potentially think would be a fiscally responsible middle ground that I'm sure that not everyone's going to be happy about, but at the end of the day, we really all have to make sacrifices here. And so most of my requests are going to be coming from the police personnel line item at $5.2 million. And the reason is because there already is a surplus in that budget for the last few years. This year, the recommended budget is proposing a $5.2 million increase from 306.2 to 311.4. Given that the spending data we received from BPD, they are projected to spend $282.6 million, leaving them still with a $24 million surplus.
Councilman here, 1 second, let me just reference what you're talking about.
And just so, and I know you'll be happy to hear this, that I did make some phone calls and just trying to help me better understand what this moment calls for. And from what I've heard is that it's been really difficult to manage personnel. And my recommendation is for this particular fiscal year is that we use the 5.2 million to address some of the things that my amendments are asking for. And I'm not asking that we take money away from the police. I want to be really clear. I'm asking that we are fiscally responsible by utilizing surplus funds. These are dollars that already does exist. And in speaking to some other folks, I've heard that there was a desire to not touch overtime because our police force is overworked at this moment. But then I've received some new information that if I had to go through my 5.2 million, maybe I found monies from other departments that I'd like to advocate, almost $1 million, that I'd like to share and put on the record.
Just to be clear, Councilman here, you're trying to make an amendment for 5.2 million for the participatory budgeting?
No, I have 5 items that I'm fighting for that total up to 7.2 something million, of which 5.2 million is coming out of the police budget.
We have to discuss each amendment at a time.
Okay, so for
Wait a second. So PB participatory budgeting, how much in total are you?
I'm asking for 2.6 million.
Okay, 1 second. And from there, you want it from the
Personnel. With the reasons that I mentioned. And I understand that there's...
Give me a moment, Councilman here. It's not as simple as just telling it to me. 1 second, please. Councilman here, just to finalize the PB amendment, 2.6 million coming out of personnel BPD.
Yes.
Okay, got it. And then, then you stated that in terms of completing that 10 million that the advocates were advocating for, that your colleagues.
From what I understand, that I have Councilor Lara is going to put forth an amendment Counselor Coletta, I believe you, Madam Chair, and we are going to ask our colleagues to, everyone to share that so that we can get to 10 million.
Understood. Do you have, now you're saying that out of the 5.2, we've already taken 2.6,
Yep.
and then you want to take more from that
I would like,
for other amendments?
so there's 5 million point two, yes. So I know that we asked for 3 million for youth jobs. I think that we all have to make sacrifices and manage our expectations in this point in time. And I am only going to be requesting 1.5.
Give me a moment.
Sorry, young people, but,
That was not under your name.
well,
That is not your amendment to amend.
okay, well, good. So according, then I got 1.5 more million dollars to work with. Okay, then, that's not mine. I will then move on to the oh, really? That 1 point, the youth jobs was not mine?
No.
Okay. What about the crisis response pilot? Is that Kendra? Consular Ladder's taking that on too, right?
If Counselor, when she's here, she can respond to that.
Okay. So then that all said, I have 150 for the procurement, the Boston Jobs Residency Tracker, that
The
line item.
BRJP,
Yep.
you would like to take that from,
I'd like to take that from the personnel, the BPD. I'm still within my 5 million.
I think you have 2.6.
Left. I have the 125 for the Latino and Caribbean Immigrant Advancement position. The 500 for the cannabis.
You want to take all of the ones that I made intra to go to personnel?
Yep.
Karishma, please adjust that. All these three.
Yep. The reparations task force. 500.
1 second. That's not an intra. It was coming from, oh, I see. Yep. Got it. Thanks, Karishma. So, 2.1. 4, 7, 8, 5. $600,000.
And how much I have left?
600.
And so I would like that, from what I understand, and I'm a little bit, I really did think that the youth jobs was mine, and you're saying that it's not. So I'd like to take
Council,
the rest of
another
that. I just
councilor
put it,
proposed it. Another
so I'll just
councilor
put the
proposed
rest
it.
of the 600,000.
Allow me to speak. Another councilor proposed it before you, and since that's not what we're discussing today, what councilor, allow councilors to talk about that. But with the way that I did it is, if you, for example, you're the first person that came to me with the PB, all yours. And so after checking our spreadsheets and documents, if it came first from an email from another councilor, that's why.
All right, so then that's fine. I will then add that $600,000 to the PB and make that 3.1.
The Youth Action Network Grant Program. Also, yes. Thank you.
And
then,
one last thing, when you're ready for me, let me know.
Of course. Councilman Head, did you want to add the remaining to PB?
Yes,
Whatever's remaining. Okay. Councilman Head, I'm ready for you.
okay. So Here's some additional recommendations that I have, that instead of it all coming from BPD personnel, I'd like some of those dollars to be allocated from the overtime. So I just need some help thinking through what that would look like. So I'd like to divide it between overtime and their personnel, because I want them to be set up for success, so I don't want to just raid that whole entire line item. And then I do have, and this is why it's so great to have your staff here helping us with this process, I have found $923,000 in 4 different, 4 different offices, so that I can give some of that money.
It depends if,
I can tell you what it is, and you could tell me that we don't have to take it all from the BPD overtime budget, or the personnel.
so, Councilman here, back to the 2.6 that was already taken from permanent employees, personnel. You want to add amounts to that? In other areas, in other departments, or you want to keep it at 2.6?
I'd like to give them a little back. I'd like to give them back $923,000.
So here, Karishma, add 900,
So
the amount that
basic-
Councilman here just mentioned.
So basically, I'm only really taking like $1 million and something from BPD instead of 2.6, because I found almost another $1 million from other departments.
Oh, wait a second, I'm gonna ask that one a different way. In total, your amendment for PB is 2.6, correct? But then of the 2.6, you want to take $923,000 in the areas that you're going to give me, right?
Yes.
And then whatever makes it up to 2.6, take it from personnel. Got it.
That way, I'm not sacrificing
So much from one
from one
line item.
department. Yeah.
Got it. Whatever the difference is, Karishma, here, please. Councilman here, I'm ready for your pools for the $923,000.
Okay. So, snow and winter management, lease and purchase, 135, 715.
1 second. No, Karishma, put it back. Put that total back. And then, just for reference, move it over if you would like. But here, start adding up the amounts that she's going to give you. You see? Right here. Thank you. Okay, 100 and,
35,
thank you.
715.
And you said snow removal,
Yep, lease and purchases.
and next one?
This is under property management and utilities. 526, 691.
Okay,
Property management, lease purchase debit service, 146, 910.
okay,
Central fleet management, lease and purchase debit service, 37,084.
okay.
And the budget management, contracted services, 77,106.
We don't have any more from budget management.
There's no, are you
There's no
saying?
wiggle room.
So that 77,000 is not available to me?
No.
Okay. Well, then you could take that 77,000 from overtime.
Okay. Thank you. Let me just check with the sources. Okay. Councilor Mejia, the other one that you can't touch and it's cutting it too close is snow and winter management. The other ones are close, but they're not over, and you'll be fine. But for the snow and winter management, no.
Okay, so what about then, then I have here 175 from legal liability premium in the Public Works Department. Can you take it from there?
There's 135 left.
What, but I'm, okay, so I'm asking,
Oh, the ones you were
I'm asking for
putting it together?
175, yep.
The 37084 and the 135, combine it, make it 175, and take it from, can you repeat the
The
source?
legal liability premium from the Public Works Department.
Okay.
And I just want to reiterate that I am in deep support of the crisis response mental health pilot, and I'm glad that Councilor Lara is going to carry that through for us.
That is a combined
Yep.
effort,
Yep.
you and Councilor Lara.
Yep. So I'm just really grateful for that. And then I also know that Councilor Roel, the civic organizing supports that I want for the poll workers on the election day poll workers money, the
That's in there.
117.
Oh, that's yours.
That's mine, but it's going to be under Councilor Roel's pot, right? And then it would just be helpful for me on the record to just have a clear understanding of what my bottom line damage has been to, like, you know, in terms of like, what am I,
I can give you that.
Can you
I can
give that?
submit it to you in an email.
yeah, I just want to make sure that as we continue to go through this process, like, I just want to thank both the advocates and the Boston Police Department and the folks on both sides of this conversation for helping me really manage expectations on both of these extreme ends to ensure that that at least my budget amendments were some way discussed with folks who are living the realities and doing the work on both sides. So I really do appreciate the insight that I received from some of the folks, and I am hopeful that you'll see this as a compromise, and grateful for your support, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Mejia. I think the only thing that's left now, to my council colleagues, Councilor Mejia has basically is proposing 2.6 for participatory budgeting, leaving the remaining of what the advocates were asking for. The advocates originally had asked for $40 million. Then this body agreed to propose $20 million. Then Councilor Mejia, since she was carrying it alone, or with our support, reduced it to $10 million. Councilor Mejia now has proposed only $2.6 million on her part, and is asking for each councilor to propose the amount that they are adding to or contributing to that amount, to that 10 million, and the source of the pool, of course. So the floor is open specifically for that, and I'm listening. Councilor Coletta?
Thank you, Madam Chair. In conversation with advocates in my district and with my council colleagues, I'm open to, based on what I've been able to find in working with staff, I've been able to find some funds to pull from, and surprise, it comes from auto energy and gas. I do not like CO2 in our atmosphere, if you can't tell. So I'm willing to put out $350,000 for participatory budgeting. That's what I have accounted for now. And I have some recommendations for you to consider, Chair, and line items where to pull from, if I could go through those now.
1 second. There isn't enough. Sorry, I have to correct something. Councilor Mejia, we don't have enough in legal liability premium for PWD.
Okay, well, I started off with 5.2 million from the personnel or the, how much, where's
It's-
my deficit?
175.
That was the 175 that I gave you.
Recently, the most recent one.
Okay. I don't
We'll get
understand
back
how
to you.
these
We'll just
keep
highlight it.
changing, the dollar amounts keep changing. But that's fine, so the 175, let's just put that out of overtime.
All right, Karishma, you got that? Thank you. Don't delete the 175. Oh, I see. Thank you, Karishma. And we're deleting legal. Okay. Counselor Coletta, ready for you.
Thank you so much. So starting, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 different polls,
What's your total?
$350,000.
Is the total that you're contributing to PB?
Yeah. And I would really love to see this money be allocated to community nonprofit capacity building to help with community outreach during this year in the form of grants. I don't know if that's possible, but that's the intent and the spirit of this pot.
Can you give me the line item name that you'd like to create?
Would it be grants? I don't know the technical term.
It,
Contractual?
yeah, in terms of like program name, if you could name it.
Community engagement? Capacity building? I
Thank
think
you.
it would have to be under contractual regardless.
Understood. Okay, and ready for the amounts.
$10,000 from election auto energy. $15,000 from BTD auto energy. $70,000 from Parks and Rec auto energy.
I don't see you. Here. Sorry, Council Coletta. Are you adding it here so that we can have one total? Line 234. Once again, Council Coletta,
I'll go back to the beginning.
please.
Okay. $10,000 from election auto energy. $15,000 from BTD auto energy. $70,000 from Parks and Rec auto energy. And then I had a question. So remaining is $250,000. Is there room to pull from Boston Fire auto energy?
No.
Okay. Has there been any pulls from that line item yet?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't we do Boston Police? Thank you.
Which one? Same?
Auto energy, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, anyone else would like to make an amendment to add to PB? Councilor Lara?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've already submitted this amendment to you, and so what would be the most helpful to share on the floor?
The ones that you had submitted were all collected.
It's $2.5 million total.
They're all compiled together.
Yes.
Unfortunately, with Council Mejia's, so,
So I think it would just be helpful to share on the floor that I am also adding $2.5 million to participatory budgeting, and the
that's,
amendments are
that
on the-
suffice.
on the document as well. Thank you.
No problem. Anyone else? Councilor Flynn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As we continue this process, I'm just listening to my colleagues, and we're taking money from various departments, especially the Boston Police Department overtime. I guess my question is, since we're making changes from yesterday to today, and have we had the opportunity to speak directly with the Boston Police Department about what these potential cuts, what impact they would have? Because if we're voting on this tomorrow, are we giving the Boston Police Department an opportunity to study these potential cuts and what impact these would have on personnel, what impact they would have on services, what impact they would have on manning levels, police on the street? So are we seeking the input from the commissioner's office or the commissioner's legal team or human resources team about the impact these cuts would have on really the residents of the city?
Does anyone want to respond? Councilor Mejia?
Yes, so in the spirit of learning and when you know better, you do better, so I have been in communication with folks who have been advising me, Councilor Flynn, that are part of the BPD administration. And so some feedback that I have received, initially I was going to do 5.2 million just out of personnel, and I was asked to divvy that up and instead of it all coming from personnel, so that there could be an opportunity to hire a new class to help alleviate some of the burden, that I was advised that tapping into the overtime budget would make a less of an impact. So I did get some confirmation from folks. A class of 196 will total 13.6 million, roughly, and if we start in January, it would be half that, leaving us short by half, right? So what we're trying to do is find some common ground here, where instead of having a full class, we start off with a half class, and then that way it is a compromise, Councilor Flynn, and that's what we're trying to do, is to negotiate and to find a happy medium. We also have to understand that we started off with, I don't know, maybe $42 million in cuts to public safety, and I'm coming back with less than 5. And I think that it is fair to say that we have done our due diligence in managing everybody's expectation to try to find a way to meet the moment in a way that does not create further harm to our police force, and finding ways to also reconcile with what we have been hearing from the folks who we also represent that are looking for us to make investments in things that are quality of life and things that will help support the social and emotional and economic well-being of those that we serve. So what we're trying to do in this process is find a happy medium, and we know that not everyone's gonna walk away happy, but if we're in the spirit of compromise, I have to say that my growth mindset is on fire this year, because when I came here in 2020, I was all the way on the other side. And what I have done in this particular budget process is find ways to bring two very different opposing views to the middle and managing everybody's expectations to get there. And if that doesn't feel like we're being reasonable, I don't know what reasonable then looks like in this moment with so many different stakeholders and so many different things that we're trying to fund. So going from 42 million to now only asking for 5.2, and instead of just taking it from personnel, getting feedback from people who are in this room in this moment and informing my thought process, speaks volumes to what a collaborative effort looks like.
Thank you, Councilor Mejia. I think people know my opinion about the lack of police presence we have in the city. When we're saying that, and we know that police are working forced overtime, 16 hours a day, and we're cutting from that pot of money, knowing that the mayor's obligated to pay that anyway. I guess my point is, we need to consistently hire 300 police officers every year for the next at least 10 years to keep up with appropriate levels across the city. And as a district city councilor, I have a different job than an at-large councilor. My job as a district councilor is to advocate for services for police presence in my district. And like a lot of you, I go to neighborhood meetings every night, and people at these community meetings, especially in the South End, the first person that would speak is the captain or the CSO talking about crime stats. Then I would usually speak after. And in meetings I've been to over the last 6 years, no one's ever said to me, we need to cut the police department, Flynn, or Captain, we need to cut the budget. What they say to me is just the opposite. They say, Councilor Flynn or Captain, we respect the work of the police, but we need more police in Peters Park. We need more police presence in Moakley Park, or Mass and Cass, or at Andrews Square, or at the Chinatown Gate, or in the Boston Common. Not once has someone said to me, hey, Flynn, we need to cut, and you need to get more police off the street. So I say that knowing that I also have spoken to the police department over the last few weeks about the budget, and they didn't recommend to me that we should cut the overtime budget or any personnel. They just said to me just the opposite. We should not do that. It's not helpful to the residents of the city. It's not helpful to the police department. It's not helpful to police and their families. And it's not financially or economically appropriate to cut the overtime budget knowing that the mayor is obligated to pay for it anyway. So I don't necessarily agree with that. So again, like I mentioned about the veterans, I couldn't support a budget that cuts funding from the City of Boston veterans. I also couldn't support a budget that cuts funding from our public safety personnel, because as a district city councilor, people expect and demand city services, and that's the job of a district city councilor, is to produce those services. No excuses, no exceptions, no passing the buck. Flynn, we need more police, and it's your job to get it done. And I accept that. That's why I can't support a budget that cuts money from the police department or the fire department or EMS. So just in the spirit of working together, I think it's important for us district councilors especially to realize that if we are cutting funding for the police, we have to go back to our constituents, whether they're in the South End, they're in East Boston, they're in Charlestown, they're in Chinatown, they're in Jamaica Plain, they're in West Roxbury, and say, I'm cutting the police budget, and by the way, we need to take more police off the street. We have to cut police from various streets of your district. We have to be consistent that when we cut the budget, we have to also show up to community meetings, explain our vote, and tell our constituents that what this will mean will be that there will be less police on the street. That's an honest answer. Thank you, Madam Chair, for giving me a couple extra minutes.
Thank you, Council President Flynn. So all mics are on. Councilor Murphy, then Councilor Mejia. Is that from before? Or? Okay, Councilor Murphy, Councilor Coletta, then Councilor Lara, then Councilor Mejia.
Thank you, Chair. So to echo what Council President Flint said, and I'm hoping so that I can make an educated vote for tomorrow. I know yesterday we came into this hearing knowing what each counselor had put forth, the total amount, and we came up with close to 75 million in amendments. 42.9 of that was coming from the police. That's just one department. So my first question is, before we leave today, will we can we get an update of the total in amendments, what each counselor is getting, in a breakdown of what each department? I know when I quickly added up, like I did get the 1 million from vets now, and I do appreciate, Councilor Mejia, you making those adjustments, and you're saying 5.2 million, is that just from you? Do we know the total now that we are cutting from public safety?
I can get the calculations for you
Awesome,
and
okay.
submit them to you.
Sure.
As far as each counselor, I think that each counselor, you can communicate with each counselor to get it, but I have to work on this and get it ready. I can't promise you that.
Each department would be helpful to know what each department will be losing or cutting from, moving from. Or if the, yeah, okay. But that being said, I know that I also spoke with the police department, and when they came forward here, I was here at the budget hearing you held with the police, and they brought us a modest budget, and I know at that point they were not saying that they had extra them. And 4 million or 42 million, what is that going to cut? And I know, speaking to them, it could be our best clinicians, it could be our body-worn cameras. I mean, if we're cutting our recruit classes, we're putting ourselves in more of a financial situation where we have less police officers, we're going to have more overtime. So maybe a cut initially to a budget, but overall the city is going to be paying for that. So do we want to be losing cadets or maintenance and cost to personnel? So those numbers would be helpful before we go into the vote tomorrow. Thank you, Chair.
The immediate, you will get the report before you go into the vote tomorrow. Hopefully. Hopefully, at least an hour or two before the filing. This is just how budget goes. I know
No,
that
I
Council
understand,
Flaherty, allow me to respond. I know that Council Flaherty had mentioned that he got, we get the budget report an hour before the council meeting. So Council Flaherty, if you're watching, if that is just how budget goes. It gets filed when it's ready.
No, I understand.
And so as far as the overall, it's now down to less than 50 million of amendments. So that's about a third of a cut. So we're not proposing 75 million anymore. And as far as the police budget, it is no longer 42 million.
I think I added like 29, unless we've made a few adjustments
There have
since
been,
then.
since we came in, 29. There have been some adjustments that look like about 24 at this point. Don't quote me, because I have to go and do proper calculations. There are no contractual police funds being cut. So all contractual services are backed intact. As far as personnel, you saw that I'm allowing folks to speak freely on the floor if they're comfortable about where they want, what line item they want to take things from specifically. And Council Mejia has made her statement that she too has been advised by police officers or folks in the police department, admin police department. So let's allow folks, everyone to have their positions according to their perspective or who they spoke with or who's advocating. So that's the process here. And again, my process is to facilitate and be neutral to allow everyone a voice. Councilor Coletta, and then Councilor Lara.
Thank you so much, Chair, and I just would love to get some things on the record before I have to go for a previously scheduled event, but I do, again, just appreciate your leadership throughout all of this. It's not easy, and the give and pull, I see a lot of compromise from my colleagues, so I do appreciate that. When I'm approaching this decision ahead of tomorrow, I'm always thinking what's best for my constituents, what's best for the constituents of Boston, what are we charged to do, and it really is city business. And so my obligation is to my district, and some of what I've put forth come directly from them. So it's street repairs, trash pickups, tree canopy, youth programming, just all of the nuts and bolts, bread and butter things that a city should be doing and servicing our residents. And the process that we're in right now, it really pits, the amendments that I want to go forward on behalf of my district versus everybody else's or our cuts to personnel. So I've made it very clear that I feel uncomfortable with voting for anything that has significant cuts to personnel. We've talked about the soft landings in all of the various departments, and there are soft landings. I'm not saying that there's not, particularly in BTD and Public Works. There's been some more additions to permanent employee cuts. And these are the folks who carry out essential city business. And so I am just worried about that. But on the same side, or the other side rather, I want to see my amendments get through. So
It's hard.
it's difficult, and it's personnel of all city departments, police included. I have also heard that from our police officers that we do need more, that they're just so tired. And that the overtime budget, although they don't want to see cuts, they're tired and they don't want any more overtime. But that comes with adding more personnel. So this is a tough one. I do want to see all of my amendments go through for the betterment of my community and my district. And I do think that just given the system that we're in, where the largest budget is BPS and we can't pull from that, we can't amend it, it's unfortunate. And it's just where we are at. And this is really for everybody that's listening in. The largest chunk of money that we have to work with is public safety. But at what point do these cuts come at the expense of people who also depend on those services? So I just wanted to put that out there. I am still uncomfortable with some of the permanent employee cuts, but I also believe in my amendments that they will service my district well. And so I just want to thank you, Chair, for this process, and I do look forward to the vote ahead of tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.
I appreciate you, Councilor Coletta, for expressing that. I want to just respond that I did take note of some of your advocacy around, especially BTD in Public Works. And so I moved things out of contract because personnel had an excess of $8 million. I don't think that in personnel they can hire $8 million within one fiscal year. And so the cuts has been way more modest instead of pulling it from contractual services, because when they can't hire, of course, they contract, right? And that can go into everything. That can go into like speed humps or materials, supplies. So instead of hitting contract harder, I went into personnel only because it just makes sense. They're not going to be able to employ $8 million of employees within one fiscal year. And so I left it around $3 million, and you can see it there. But again, I will submit all of the totals, polls to you by department so you can make an informed decision. Thank you. Councilor?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have one question and then a couple of things to say before I had to go get Zaire off the school bus because I'm 10 minutes behind. My first question is that there have been, some of my council colleagues have made comment about the places where departments are being pulled or changes that were made from, can you just, I think generally there are questions about it. Can you talk a little bit to us about how you make considerations? So if I submit an amendment and I say I want this amount coming from these places, it is still up to your discretion of what you include in the committee report. So can you talk a little bit about how you're making those decisions? Because I think that folks are, at least two people noticed that they were like, oh, this is coming from here instead. So can you share a little bit about your thought process to make when you're making those changes?
Absolutely. Thanks for your question. Essentially, there are departments that, for example, are budgeted for more than what they will spend at the end of this fiscal year. And so, for example, BTD is one that will spend a little bit over $3 million, but they are, is that right? For the 7, they're over 3.7. Yeah. So for their contractual, they will spend about 3.7 at the end of the year, but yet they have millions in excess to that budget. And so, for example, if you suggest, if one councilor suggested to take from contractual BTD, and then there's a whole bunch of other councilors asking for the same pull or a pull in the same line item, and then it compromises the wiggle room that I have in that department, then I will suggest, well, you know, here in this other department, for example, Office of Human Services, there's a little bit more room in terms of excess funds, leaving them still a lot of funding to either, if they've expressed that they are going to build capacity and hire more, then I've left enough to sufficient according to their testimonies in our hearings, and then just using the funds that are in excess to that. So not just what they're going to use by the end of the fiscal year 23, but also what's in excess, leaving them some according to what they need to hire for fiscal year 24, and then whatever is left. But then if someone else comes and says, I also want to take money from BTD, and it goes over that window or that wiggle room that I have, then I'll say, I'll recommend another department or another line item that has more funding to take away from.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think that's helpful to understand in terms of the decisions that are being made here, because when we're looking at the committee report, there's one, and I said this at yesterday's working session, and so I'm going to repeat it today, that we're using unspent funds. So
Absolutely.
we are not cutting anyone's budget. Nobody is losing
Their job.
employees. Nobody's losing their job.
No layoffs.
No layoffs. That the money that we're talking about spending here are unspent funds. And so, although I know that it's important to signal to our constituents that we care about workers and that we care about personnel and that we want to make sure that city business doesn't slow down, it's important to be honest about the fact that we are talking about unspent funds here. And so when you're making determinations about what line items to take from, you're doing so that you don't spend down the unspent funds.
Correct.
And therefore still leave them a cushion of budgetary money that they haven't spent on top of what's already allotted that they are going to projected to spend this year.
That's 100% accurate.
Okay, thank you. So that's helpful for me because there were, as I was going through my amendments, I noticed changes, and it helps me understand why you were going to different departments, and it was because you didn't want to deplete other cushion and unspent funds from other departments.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's incredibly helpful. Thank you so much.
And considering that this is only the first step of the process.
I know. I think that we have to vote with our values tomorrow and with what we believe is going to serve our constituents and our district, and ultimately it goes back to the mayor. If the mayor and her team believe that that's not a sufficient cut, then they will lower it or change it. So I am hopeful, because this is a collaborative process, that as the city council, we've done our job, which is to suggest amendments and find places where to take them from, but that it's not our singular job to finalize the budget. It's a collaborative effort. And so the mayor gave us something, we're giving her
It's
something.
literally in the charter that
Yes.
the council and the mayor shares power
Yeah.
together, meaning 50-50.
So I think we can get to a middle place between us and the mayor with what's here and what's moving forward. The last thing that I want to say is that this is, for me at least, it's a matter of my priorities. And similar to everybody here, I am also a district councilor, and my constituents elected me to come and do something here at the city council. And the amendments that I submitted are not only a reflection of what my constituents elected me to do, but they're also a reflection of the work that I've done for the past year around supporting LGBTQ community in the city of Boston, making sure that we have alternative mental health response for our constituents, making sure that we have grant funding for people who are providing housing. As the housing chair, increasing the budget for the mayor's office of housing and making sure that we have enough money to implement the Franklin Park Action Plan as the chair of the Parks Committee. And so all of my amendments are really in alignment with the work that I think we need to do, and are in alignment with what my constituents are asking me for. And if I have to make a decision between funding maternal health programming at Women's Advancement, particularly when Black women have 4 times the mortality rate, and, you know, I want to say this cautiously because I also don't want I don't want to be dramatic, but when you look at infant mortality rates and our children, people's children are dying, and you talk about our ability to provide Black women with resources and programming that is going to help them not only seek the support that they need, but advocate for themselves so that we can have better health outcomes. If I have to decide between closing the infant mortality rate gap and using unused funds from another department, then there is a clear priority there, right?
Yep.
And so I think that oftentimes we have a difficult time making decisions because we don't want to pit departments against each other. This is not pitting departments against each other. This is about being discerning and prioritizing. And if there is unspent money and there is a need for our most marginalized constituents that needs to be met, then there is a very clear priority there. And it's a very clear priority for me. And so I will be voting in alignment tomorrow with those priorities. I'm going to be prioritizing meeting the needs of people, not protecting some ghost fund that isn't being used by a department year after year. So I want to thank you for this process. I am going to be supportive. I have other smaller questions that I can send to you off of the record in terms of where the amendments, I think there's like one that's missing that I think that I didn't see here, but other than that, I'm grateful for all of the work that you do, to Councilor Mejia for being willing to make so many concessions. I initially suggested $17 million worth of amendments, and that's come down to 7. And so I think that along with all of my colleagues, everybody here gave something and took something. So now it's up to the mayor to really make sure that we have something that works for all of our constituents. So thank you, and thank you to everybody else, and I'm going to excuse myself.
Thank you very much, Councilor Lara. The process for tomorrow, for those of you who are watching and those of you here, we will, I will put a report, a budget report on the floor for a vote. We will need 7 votes in order for it to pass. That does not mean that that is the passed final budget. It means that it will pass in order for it to go to the mayor's office for her review. The mayor may veto or veto in part and send it back with recommendations. She has 7 days to send it back. When we return on the 28th, we will have to take a second vote on the amendment. There, we can either accept the mayor's suggestions as it comes back, or we are able to amend one more time, which means that we can amend in part or in whole or in part of parts on the floor on the 28th. So, and if we want to collectively override the mayor's veto, it would actually take 2/3, and at this time, because we have 12 councilors, we would need 8 votes. Councilor?
Sorry, Councilor Mejia, for cutting in front of you, because there was a question on the floor yesterday about the Boston Public Health Commission that I got a response to, and I just wanted to put it on the floor. There was a $2.6 million amendment for an alternative mental health response program. We lowered that amendment from 2.6 to 1.1 million because there was $1.5 million already allotted in the Boston Public Health Commission's budget for that. And so I spoke to Dr. Ojikutu and Tierney Flaherty to get clarification. And so there is $1.75 million in the operating budget for alternative mental health response and $500K from ARPA funds for alternative mental health response. Out of that amount, the $500K is allotted to fund the alternative mental health response program that is being suggested by the community. And out of the 1.75 million, 1 million of that is allotted for them. And so there's $1 million in the operated budget, $500,000 for ARPA, and then with our $1.1 million amendment, it'll bring it up to be fully funded at 2.6.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for that clarification. Councilor Mejia?
Yeah, thank you. I really do appreciate Councilor Lada's points in terms of kind of like what this moment is calling for. And
Apologies.
it's okay. And what I have discovered in the last 3 years, and mainly this particular year of all years, is that we tend to be really divisive. when we show up into this chamber, and this whole notion of us being the bad ones because we're trying to be disruptive, right? And I really want to challenge that right in this moment, because the good faith effort that my office has made to be in community and in conversation with BPD, and so that we could be a little bit more thoughtful in our approach, feels somewhat like a bit dismissive and disingenuous to say that I can't support a budget that's going to cut X, Y, and Z, but then what about the needs and the things that we've been advocating for? Then what does that say to the people that also put us in office, that we're not going to fight for the things that they've been asking for because we can't? This is what compromise looks like. I went from 32 million to 7. And I've left a lot on the table. And I was in community and in conversation with both the advocates and folks in the BPD department to try to get some guidance around how do we struggle with this point of tension, recognizing that we're all going to have to give up something. And so that is the moment. That is where we are right now, a moment of compromise. And I don't think that it is fair to characterize the amendments that I have made as irresponsible and as though I don't care about public safety, because I dodge bullets every single day. I know what it's like to live in a community that is riddled with violence. I know that. And living in Dorchester is very different than living in other parts of the city of Boston. So, for the record, I too am responsible for 700 constituents. And while I may not be a district councilor, I'm an at-large councilor, and I have a responsibility for the city as a whole. And so the decisions that I make with understanding that I represent the entire city, and I am responsible for the well-being and the quality of life for all constituents, not just some. And so with that, I'm going to state again for the record that I have reduced my amendments to a very compromised position with feedback from the folks who are living the realities and doing the work. So for the record, I want to be really clear. This is not about sacrificing one department for the other. We have pulled resources in our effort from a number of different sources. And so I just want to be really clear about the narrative that is out there, because that is unfair, and it just creates this sense of divide that we don't need right now. And if we're serious about building relationships across our differences, then I think this is an opportunity for us to model what that looks like and not utilize the microphone to make it appear that that we're being divisive or disrespectful, or that we don't care about our police force. I have family members that are in the police force. I have loved ones that are in the police force. I have people who I respect that are part of the police force, and I too respect them and their work. So I just want to be clear and on the record around that. And so the decisions that I've made is based on the unused funds that have bubbled up and have surfaced year after year. All I'm asking for is 5.2, and this is coming from a surplus. And that's the bottom line. It is a surplus. It is funding that has not been used, and I don't understand, why it's $7 million that went unspent in FY 2022. And so we have a surplus to work with. It's not cutting the police budget. It is reallocating resources and utilizing the funds that were not used and putting them to use in this fiscal year. And it's for one fiscal year. We're asking for this fiscal year. And we're willing to make more compromises, but if we can just do one class and start them later, you know, we can split the difference. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It could be and we can both live in harmony. I don't think it should be that deep. And if we have the power to try to make some changes, and if we want to model behavior, this is our moment to show up different for the constituents that are watching us. This is not an opportunity for us to continue to be divisive. There's a narrative out there, and that I'm willing to stand up against it. And I just want to thank you, Chair, for shepherding us through this difficult process, because I know it is not easy to do. So, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Mejia. Councilor President Flynn, we're scheduled till 4. If we can make our final comments, everyone, and then so we can close. Council President Flynn, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and again, thank you for your important leadership, Madam Chair. And I came to this discussion, like all of my colleagues, looking to compromise, looking to work together, cooperating. That's what I've been doing, is listening to my colleagues, being respectful, but also compromising. I don't think anyone has compromised as much as I have. But my constituents, especially constituents in the South End or South Boston or Chinatown, where we have public safety challenges in and around Andrew Square and in and around Mass and Cass. I represent the area just down the road from there at Andrew Square, Peters Park or the Boston Common, Downtown Crossing. Residents have asked me, as their district councilor, and they respectfully say, Councilor Flynn, we need more police on the street. And it's your job, Councilor Flynn, to advocate for it. And that's what I've been doing. I don't want to see a police class delayed. I want to see a full class. Again, I think we're being very unfair to our police officers, making them work 16 hours a day. It's very unhealthy. It's not good for the city. It's not good for police and their families. It's not good for the residents. We need to fully fund police classes every year consistently, 300 police officers for the next 10 years, I would think. And recruit a diverse group of young men and women across the city as well. But I came to this assignment willing to work with all of my colleagues, and I've listened, and I also want to make sure that we don't have any divisive comments here. But on the other hand, I do want to advocate for my constituents. Again, I represent the most constituents living in public housing, and they have asked me. Last night I was at Muriel and McCormick at a cookout, and young people were there. They were asking me about, when can we see more police walking the street? When can we see police in public housing developments? When can we have more police? And that's what the residents were asking me. Most of them residents in public housing, as you know, are people of color, and I'm proud to represent them. But I'm going to do the best I can advocating for them, but also advocating for our police officers as well and their families. I just think it's very unfair. I think it's very unhealthy to have a police officer working 16 hours a day, 4 or 5 days a week. It impacts their personal life, it impacts their family, it impacts their kids. And we can do better as a city. And how do you address that? By putting on classes as frequently as we can. 300 police officers consistently every year for the next 10 years. We can do that. It's about Boston working together in representing everybody. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Council President Flynn. Okay, Councilor Mejia, I assume that was your closing statement. Oh, please, Well, without us delaying more time, do you think 2 minutes will be okay? Thank you.
So I'm so encouraged by the entire process that we have gone through and really do appreciate your leadership, Councilor Anderson. I know it's not easy to be a Black woman holding it down in these times, knowing the difficult work that it is to just show up and live. So I really do appreciate your leadership. And then I also just want to state for the record that I too deeply care about my residents all across the city of Boston. And I hope those who are listening know that when I show up, I listen. And a lot of the things that I hear out in these streets is that we need to balance and support issues of housing, economic empowerment, workforce development, mental health and wellness, more jobs for young people, the participatory budget, like all of these things are competing interests. And so this is what I believe collaboration looks like. This is what a compromise looks like. How do we get to a place where everybody in the city of Boston feels heard, seen, and served? And my hope is that this particular process is going to get us through there. And I'm hopeful that the mayor and her team who are listening in will look at the budget and say, how can we get to a place where we're not overworking our police force, right? Because nobody wants, we ask our police officers to be case managers, to be housing specialists, mental health providers, right? This is an opportunity for us to focus on helping to support that workforce so that they have the tools and the resources to do that. So that is why I am so unapologetic about the things that I'm fighting for, because I believe those things will help alleviate some of the violence. And I think that having grown up here in the city of Boston during the heights of the crack and HIV and all of that was happening in the 80s and the 90s, I know what Boston Miracle was all about. I know the impact that investing in youth jobs and in programming has made. And so I say that this is not about going back to the way things used to be. It's about recognizing that there are some best practices and that we need to invest in those best practices if we're really serious about dealing with the violence. But going with just the same old, it's not innovative. It's just more of the same old. And I'm here to try to shepherd us through a process that is more hopeful and less fearful. I don't prescribe to fear tactics because I believe that this world isn't as bad as we have made it out to be. I still believe in humanity, and I am hopeful that we're going to get to the right place. And that is why I can stick to my values and sleep at night. And I'll say this, I say it once and I'll say it again. I am not afraid. The only people that can take me out are the people who put me in. And I never make any votes with any special favors or any special interest. My interest has always been and will always be the people who have put me here, period.
Thank you, Councilor Mejia. It's been quite a couple of months, and with low attendance or now great attendance, Councilor Mejia and Councilor Flynn, you both have been here the entire time. You probably, one of the two, this time somehow you beat Councilor Flynn to it, but you're one of the top attendees to the working sessions and budget hearings, and I appreciate you both. I, again, have tried to make this process as collaborative, as democratic as possible, and I have not used biases or my own personal position to motivate me in the decision of my reports. I've taken everyone's amendments, with exceptions to some that are obvious that programs already exist. If their funds already exist, then I would make a suggestion for interdepartmental. Also, again, I have not decreased any department's budget to lay off or fire. No one will lose their job. No one will decrease in hours. There are a lot of increases, and I think that we had voted for chief of departments to get a raise up to, I think it was $175,000 a year. So that's happening, and so those increases are in the budget. I've made sure that they have wiggle room to increase capacity if they've expressed that in the hearings. This decision has not been mine alone, and I've done as much as possible to make sure that everybody's heard. Tomorrow, I will submit the report, the final report, and we will vote on it. Prior to that, there will be no more changes past the closing of this working session. So I look forward to submitting you with information about all of the department decreases and increases. I can't give you only the increases or the decreases, because then it's not balancing exactly what's happening in the numbers. So I will give you the balance of what's happening, whether it's going up or down, and that amount. All right. So thank you all for sticking around to the end. This working session is adjourned.